When it comes to throwing the football and being able to generate more power in your throw, a lot of times it has to do with how well we're able to create rotation within the lower half. So we're going to go in depth into some key things that I think will help you in being able to just create more hip rotation and just rotation in general within the lower body, because I do think a big part of it, I'm going to use this as a prop here, a big part of what's going to make it so you can get better within the rotation is going to be what you're doing not only within your hips but also within your feet. So, and this could be like a gait, it could be a wide variety of different things. It obviously doesn't have to be a hurdle, but what I just do here, and you can see it's about my hip height, you could even be a little bit higher, I would say. What I'm just going to do here is work on what's considered hip and shoulder separation, which is just my ability to rotate in my hip and kind of leave my shoulders closed as I'm going through that. So the key thing, and you can see with my foot, what I'm doing here is I'm really pivoting with that back foot to make it so that heel is facing straight up. What I see a lot of people do when they're struggling with hip rotation is they push with the foot. So you can see my heel, while it's still facing kind of upwards, it's more facing back here behind me, where I want to rotate here a little bit more so it's more facing this way. And that's, I think, the key concept to be able to understand when it comes to, if I want to get better hip rotation, what do I need to do there? Is we need to be able to rotate better off the back foot. Now, another common thing that I'll see is, and this will also impact hip rotation, if when we take the step during the throw, if we end up stepping and really opening up a lot here, what that does, that makes it so I don't have the ability to create very much rotation. You could go here, and if you're standing, even if you're in your room or living room, whatever, in your house, and if you take a step and you kind of keep your feet facing straight ahead, and then pivot and rotate, you could feel how much more rotation you're gonna have in comparison to the more you open up to the side here, the less kind of ability you'll have to be able to rotate. Now, I do think it is important to be able to create a little bit of an opening here to make it so then we can get more of our hips around as we go through the throw. So we don't wanna end up cutting ourselves off so much that we can't get full rotation into that front hip, but we don't want to go in steps so wide that we can't really shift our weight onto our front leg. We're kind of are almost falling off to the side here. So if I'm throwing it towards the net, I'm going to end up going like this because of how far off to the side I took that step. So we just want to be aware of how I'm taking that step to make it so then I can go and create this here. And I would just work on one, like I was doing here, just pivoting like this, keeping that front shoulder closed, and then step, right? And you can still hold on that same thing. Step, pivot. Okay, these are just like steps to be able to work on, not really rotating within that upper body, right? Locking that upper body in as I step and pivot. And do this a bunch of times to be able to really feel it. And the key thing that you just want to be able to do is, as you're going through the throw, and this is again to create more hip rotation. So if this is something you're struggling with as a quarterback, you're saying, hey, I need to be able to rotate more effectively there, I would say make sure we're getting this back knee to face all the way around towards the target. Okay, and what you'll commonly see for people that are not getting great rotation in that back foot is you'll see this foot want to flail kind of off to the side a little bit more. Okay, and it's not that that's necessarily a bad thing when throwing the ball. We'll see people that are at a high level that'll kind of do that, but they're not doing that because they are getting elite level of rotation within their hips. They're getting a lot more kind of push off of that back leg, and that's a part of the throw as well. You want to be able to push and you want to be able to rotate off of that back leg, because the push gets that weight onto your front foot. The rotation makes it so then we can really create a lot of power through like the hips and through the core, where the push is more of like the momentum that we're going to get into the throw. You want to have both. Okay, especially if we're trying to get the ball out of your hands quickly. Where you see Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, they do a great job if they get this front foot down and then they just pivot and throw. Joe Burrow is a great example as well. So again, if you want to work on that, I would use that hurdle as a drill to kind of help you out in being able to create the rotation, and then just go through step, rotate, and then throw, and really trying to get the rotation to happen before you start going through with the hand and with the arm. Okay, so you don't want to end up rotating as the hand is coming through. You want to rotate first, keep the weight back, keep the hands back, and then as we're throwing, that's when the weight wants to shift onto the front leg, or that's when you want to be able to push off of that back foot. So the timing is rotation first, then throwing the football and pushing forward off of that back foot. A good indication of how well you're rotating is where is that back knee as you're going through or as that weight is shifting forward. If it's off to the side, we didn't get as much rotation. If we get that the back knee to rotate all the way towards the target, then you did a much better job. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned, like, subscribe. Talk to you soon.